All right, we'll give everybody just one more minute to join and then I'll go ahead and get started.
Okay,
While we're all here, Monica Holmes is our interim planning director. She has joined the room as well as Douglas Welton, who is our chairperson for our planning committee.
great.
Hi, y'all. It's Monica. I'll be moving around, so if I disappear, don't don't take it personally.
Of course, I understand.
This is Douglas. I'm probably going to do the same thing as Monica's doing.
Okay,
I'm a strong interest in the West Inner, though, just because I want to find some. I haven't had enough time to talk with folks from that side, so I do want to hear what folks have to say.
of course. Well, welcome. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. It doesn't look like anybody else is joining us tonight. So I want to thank you guys again for being here this evening. I'm going to walk you through the West Inner and discuss how it may impact you and your community. If there's no questions about how this will go, I can go ahead and give the brief interview or introduction and overview of this, and then we can open it up for a discussion, and we can go from there. All right. So the reason for developing CAPS is Charlotte has been continuously growing for decades, and the projected growth is going to keep going. And so, in response to that projected growth, our city adopted the Charlotte Future 2040 Comprehensive Plan in 2021, which defines our 20-year vision for growth and change in Charlotte. The plan essentially calls for future growth to benefit as many people as possible. While the comprehensive plan provides the broad vision for our community, there are other levels of guidance needed to make our vision come to life. This is the planning framework adopted. Hello, welcome. Sorry, we're just getting started. I'm doing a brief overview. Um, so while the comprehensive plan provides, oh, another one, sorry, I apologize. I will give it another minute. Apparently, we're still joining. I think we're good to keep going. So I'm just doing a brief overview and then I'll open it up for a discussion. Welcome and thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. So I'll just go back just one quick slide so that everybody's on the same page. So the reason that we are developing the community area plans is that Charlotte has been continuously growing for decades and in the projected is to keep growing. So in response to that projected growth, our city has adopted the Charlotte Future 2040 Comprehensive Plan in 2021 that defines our 20-year vision for growth and change in Charlotte. And the plan essentially calls for future growth to benefit as many people as possible. And so while that comprehensive plan provides a broad vision for our community, there are other levels of guidance needed to make our vision come to life. And so this is the planning framework adopted within the comprehensive plan, and it identifies subsequent levels of guidance needed. So, level two is the strategic plans, which are citywide documents that provide more details than a comprehensive plan on a particular topic. So, for example, the strategic mobility plan provides guidance on how to realize goal five from the comprehensive plan, which is creating safe and equitable mobility choices. Level three are community area plans, which provide more guidance for the appropriate land uses, building form, infrastructure needed throughout the planned geography. Level four are specific plans focusing on smaller geographies and provide more guidance for implementation of specific plans. It's important to note that level two through four all build upon that vision and goal outlined in the comprehensive plan. So the community area plans essentially are about creating complete communities, which means creating places that integrate housing, job opportunities, and daily goods in an accessible manner. So in other words, live, work, and play in the environment that you live in. So the community area plans developed with a five-phase process that occurred over 2 years. Staff has offered multiple engagement opportunities in each phase, and the outcomes of each phase have been shared along the way. So this just kind of gives like a brief overview, and you can see that we are here and we are looking for adoption. So this slide summarizes the engagement efforts from phase 1 through phase 4. We've reached over 400,000 residents, both online and in person, using a range of constant and coordinated tactics. This tactic includes social media posts, our websites, and all the online interactive content we've produced. So that would be story maps and videos. While the virtual interactions are great, we still really value those in-person interactions, and we were able to interact with 6,000 people from phase 1 through phase 4. And for this planning effort, we've hosted 50 workshops in which we asked residents to join us, but we also made an effort to meet people where they were by attending other meetings, festivals, and libraries. You can see the geographic dispersion of our in-person interactions on the map to the right. And throughout phase 1 through 4, we received 1,700 comments that helped to shape the draft plans. I'd like to mention that all of the engagement builds upon the feedback we received during the 500,000 interactions during the comprehensive plan development and the 6,000 interactions with the policy map. So plans were developed using a systematic approach, meaning that we developed them in the same way and will have the same components and formats within them. While the plans developed systematically, each plan includes both unique content that reflects the individual character of the geography, as well as new common policy guidance that helps us achieve our vision. These plans provide common set of considerations for all decision makers to ensure we're consistently evaluating options in line with the city's vision. Over time, these considerations will ensure growth is accommodated in a way that respects established neighborhoods, aligns growth with our infrastructure capacity, and creates vibrant and mixed centers for all. So this is the table of contents within the West Inner Community Area Plan. So if you look at the other plans, you'll see the same contents and organization as I mentioned on the last slide. And I'm going to keep the table of contents up so that way you can track our progress through the plans. So the next chapter outlines the geography's greatest needs and prioritizes the goals. So needs are focused on increasing access to housing choice, job opportunity, daily goods and services, and reducing environmental impacts. The plan focused on these 4 needs because these are the metrics identified in the comprehensive plan as paramount for ensuring future growth benefits as many people as possible. The 10 comprehensive plan goals were linked to these 4 metrics, and if a metric scored less than 5 on the associated goals that were identified as priorities for the geography. We understand that all goals are important, but this helps us prioritize a list that will prioritize the limited dollars and resources. So Chapter 4 focuses on recommended development patterns for the geography. So that's the policy map. The colors on the map relate to the types and intensity of those developments within that appropriate area. So to learn more about the colors and the place types, you can see that in our appendix section. The plans recommend a large portion of the geography remaining as is, meaning if redevelopment occurs in these areas, then new development should match the scale and intensity of the development on the ground today. The plan recommends 37% evolve into a different type of development than what exists today. An example of anticipated change is commercial evolving into an activity center. Commercial places are characterized by car-oriented destinations for retail, dining, service uses, and are typically within low-rise buildings that are located along major streets or near intersections. An example of this would be Tyvola Road and Memorial Parkway. That can be seen on page 21. This could evolve into a community activity center, which is characterized by a mix of uses. So residential, employment, shopping, leisure, entertainment. And these are all set within a mid-rise building in a more pedestrian-oriented environment. This place type change would add a greater mix of those uses and densities to the recommended area. And this change will help accommodate our projected growth in a way that respects neighborhoods, pairs growth with infrastructure capacity, and creates mixed-use centers which help increase access across Charlotte. Other pages in Chapter 4 explain how recommended change helps advance the geography's priority goals and assesses their greatest needs. In Chapter 5, Supporting the Vision, this includes 5 sections and references the Neighborhood Toolkit. The Neighborhood Toolkit is included within the appendix because it's a reference for all geographies. The toolkit catalogs all the great programs that are currently available to residents to help address their needs. The intent is that a resource to empower neighborhoods who want to take some action. This outlines existing programs that neighborhoods can tap into to amenitize a common open space and create a neighborhood park, for example. The mobility section was developed in coordination with CDOT, CATS, and CRTPO. It restates that the goal 5, safe, equitable mobility, is important across Charlotte. It includes a clip of the citywide streets map, which outlines the future cross sections for arterial streets in Charlotte. This section summarizes the citywide strategic mobility plan and highlights those strategic investment areas within the geography. Next, the mobility section includes a new level of guidance called the mobility assessment. The assessment evaluates how well our future mixed-use places are meeting our aspirations as outlined in the place type descriptions. These assessments should be used by all stakeholders, residents, developers, and city officials to inform future development and infrastructure projects within these areas. For example, if a developer wants to rezone a site within one of these mixed-use locations, they should use this assessment to propose a project that improves conditions. Similarly, community members can evaluate a proposed project against the assessment to determine if the project contributes to the area's aspirations. The open space and community character include a similar assessment because open space and character are important components of the place type aspirations. And for the sake of time, I won't share those slides, but I've highlighted these 2 assessments, and we can navigate into them online if anybody has any additional questions. The next section is environmental justice and sustainability, which builds upon the comprehensive plan's vision to reduce environmental impacts across Charlotte. This section provides more detailed analysis of the environmental impacts within a plan's geography. It also introduces heat impacts as new environmental metrics that should be considered in future decision making. You can see that on the right of the map, or the right, which is the map. So plans are implemented in multiple ways. The private and public sectors both have a role to play in this, and plans may be implemented through private development, private-public partnerships, capital improvements, and rezonings. Community area plans are an important component of Charlotte's planning framework, but they're one tool in our toolbox. We also have specific plans in the toolbox, which focuses on smaller geographies and more implementation focused. We have the ability to develop this if and when needed across the city. And planning is something that continues. So we plan to monitor and update recent plans every 8 to 10 years. Staff will share comments received and potential amendments to the draft plans with Planning Committee next Tuesday. Council has decided to delay their decision on the adoption from May 27th to give the public more time to review and comment on the plans. Council decision has been tentatively pushed to June. So I'm welcome, or I welcome any questions, and I'm happy to answer as best I can, as well as take your comments. So if anybody would like to speak, you're welcome to go off of mute, and I'll be happy to discuss. Was there anything in particular that anybody wanted to discuss?
Abby, this is Commissioner Welton. Can I
Yes,
ask a question from the
of
folks
course.
who are on with this? One of the things that I'm interested in finding out is we have about 10 people, I guess, on the call now, and um, is this the first time that you all have gotten involved in this, or were you a participant at some earlier session? I'm just trying to find out, what experience people have had with this process, and please let me know if you've done this already. That would be great. Hearing silence. That mean that this is the first time that everybody's had an interaction with? Okay, thanks,
Hi.
Suzette.
Hi. I'm sorry. Was somebody else about to talk? I was involved early on, I guess about 6 years ago. Back when they very first started having these community meetings, but kind of got super busy and have fallen off and just now re-engaging. So thank you for setting this up and inviting me. I appreciate it.
Okay. Did you have a chance to look at the plan before you got on this call, or you feel like are prepared to maybe take a look at it just, quickly, and so that, if you have neighbors you want to share with, or something like that, you could do that?
Yes, I will. I have not had a chance to look at it. Where can I? Is it on the Charlotte 2040 website?
It is.
Yes, you can navigate to community area plans, and you're going to have to scroll down a little bit, but the final plans, I think, are near the bottom of when you finish scrolling,
That
somewhere
is
in there.
correct. I can walk you through those steps now if you'd like. Okay, so this is our future 2040 comprehensive plan, and you can see that there's community area planning here, which if you select, you can scroll down, and these are our 14 community reports from phase one. Phase two, which we talked about, the creating great places, supporting the vision was phase three. And we're in, phase four. So that's actually where the community area plans are. So you do have to scroll down a little bit, but you're able to go ahead and click on that. Once you click on that, you're able to select any of the plans that you'd like. We also have the program area guide as well as the appendices on here. So for instance, if you were clicking on the West Inner, you can go ahead and click on it. It will then load. It does take a second, but once it loads, you're actually able to provide comments directly on the plan. So if something stands out to you, whether it's a comment, concern, support, you're able to then do that. And like I said, I apologize. It is taking its time, so I'm going to navigate over to my other window. But you can see here that you can just click and you're able to enter in your comments here. If you would like it to be downloaded or printed, you can download it here and print it, or just keep it as an Adobe file. Did anybody have any questions for us tonight about the West Inner or any comments that they had about the plans themselves? We're happy to take down any comments or if there's something that you would like to discuss as possibly being put into the plans. These are still draft form, so we can definitely take your comments. Depending on the conversations, it may not make it into the update, but we do have that opportunity to continue that conversation. Okay, well, I will share our another way if you guys would like to participate. So we have our virtual open houses. We also have office hours where you're able to speak directly to staff if this is uh, something that you want to meet more one-on-one about, or if you have, a neighborhood group that you want us to talk to, we're able to do that. And so office hours are just one of the ways that, we can get that across. Libraries are available or hard copies are available at all of our libraries. We are here tonight until 6. So if nobody has any questions or if you are interested in other areas, you are welcome to listen into other groups. I can assist you with moving rooms, or you can move yourself via that breakout room tool, and listen into some other conversations.
I had a quick question.
Yeah, of course.
So can you lift up any specific details relative to the plan as it relates to West Boulevard or Wilkinson Boulevard?
So I believe that, and like I said, I've got the plan in front of me here. I believe that we have a couple of places that we speak about Wilkinson. So yeah, so on page 21, which here I can go ahead and share the screen, and we can all look through the plan together. Okay. So there's a couple opportunities where you can find more information that's a little bit more specific. For example, we talk about Wilkinson Boulevard, going to Community Activity Center, and so like I said, there's a couple examples of locations there. We also have in the mobility section, we have a couple of different maps that actually talk about the road systems as well as potential improvements. So you can see that here in our mobility assessment. And then we also have the strategic investment areas. And this does get pretty specific for potential projects on roadways. Um, and so this would be, so for example, there's a mobility focus SIA area, which is the strategic investment area for West Boulevard. And these are what is being proposed through that. And if you want additional information on the strategic investment areas, I believe there is a QR code as well. And I believe that is on page 85. So I can scroll to that really quickly. And you're able to, you can use that as a way to view. I apologize, I cannot see the page number over here.
Abby, it is on page 85. I just happened to be on page 85.
There it is, yes.
Mentioned that.
Yeah, so this is another way that you can find out more information about those strategic investment areas.
Thank you.
Of course. And I know we have some new attendees. So I just had gone over a brief presentation about the community area planning process, as well as kind of the overview for West Inner. We're just having a conversation right now and discussion about the West Inner. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, be happy to help have that conversation and take down your comments.
Hey, Abby.
Yes.
Good evening. My name's Dante. I live in Washington Heights neighborhood, and
Okay.
I've noticed that the LC Coleman Park is closed. Could you talk more about that if you know anything? I know they're doing a lot of upfitting of the park, but as
Sure.
of right now, it's closed, so just there's no access to the public.
So, parks are, if it is a park that is maintained by Mecklenburg County, I don't have specific information on the parks themselves, and their statuses. That's something that Mecklenburg County handles. We do have information regarding open space, which does detail parks, and amenities in our community character section. And so you can see that we have the parks listed with the map, and then as well as the geographies for those mixed use areas that take into consideration those public plazas, courtyards, parks, and greenways. So I would say that I can get you the information to connect you to Mecklenburg Parks and Recreation if you'd like.
Please, and thank
Yeah,
you. Thank
absolutely. Do you want to put your email in the chat so that way I can pass along that information for you?
you.
Wonderful. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did anybody else have any comments or questions? If not, we are other rooms are having similar conversations. So if there's another area that you would like to jump to and listen into that conversation, you're welcome to do so via the breakout chat. Or like I said, I'm happy to answer any questions or get you answers. And then we do have a hard stop at 6 p.m. tonight because we will be switching to our other community area planning districts. Hello, welcome. We did a brief overview of West Inner, but we're having a conversation if you would like to ask any questions, provide any comments or feedback.
Okay, I will just listen in for right now.
Okay,
This is not my area, but I represent Stillberry Acres. So us in the Southwest Middle and the West Side are in similar situations. So I will just listen in for now.
okay. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
And it looks like you're off mute. Did you have something to share?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, could you move your screen up? Because I have read this and I just want
Oh,
to read some more of it because I'm not
yeah.
access it to move it. Thank
So,
you.
so this is
Go ahead.
actually on our website as well. Would you like me to put the link in the chat so that you can view this on your own computer?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, give me just one
Thank you.
moment.
Mhm.
And you may have missed it earlier, so I'm not sure who's been coming and going, but you do have the ability to comment directly onto the plan. So you're able to just hover over whatever you have a comment on, and then once you click it, you're able to actually provide that comment directly and then select the comment type. And so we can catalog your feedback that way. Or like I said, if you guys have any questions or comments, I'm happy to answer those and take that information down tonight as well. Also, since you asked for the link about the plans, I wanted to go ahead and put on the screen again. This is another option for you if you would like to provide feedback. So we have office hours every Tuesday and Thursday, which you can sign up for, and you can speak directly to staff about any, particular issue that you or concern that you have, any suggestions that you may have for these plans. We have hard copies of these. In all of the libraries. So if you like that more printed version, you can definitely take a look there. On the website, you also have the ability to download it if you'd like, your own personal copy. Again, we're here tonight. If anybody has any comments, questions, concerns, or any feedback, I'm happy to help or answer anything. Does anyone have any general questions, maybe not specific to West Inner that I can help answer, or any comments in general?
I do have a question. Can you
Yeah.
also send comments to your email as well that's listed on the website?
Yes, and
Okay.
you are welcome to do that as well. We also have the QR code if you would like to use your phone, and that is also the link there to the website, and you can definitely email us, come to office hours, put the comments directly on the plan, whatever you prefer.
Okay, terrific. Because of course we have some older residents that it's much
Mhm.
easier for them to communicate via an email than it
Sure.
is trying to navigate a website. So just wanted to
Oh,
make sure. Thank you so much.
of course, of course. And we are actually working on providing the comment responses. So comment responses are, I believe, scheduled to come out on Monday for some of the comments that we've already received. Um, I apologize. E. Strong, do you have anything or any comments or questions? I see you're still in the room.
No, I don't. I was just getting ready to leave. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming tonight. And Diana, we also have done some community meetings. So if there is a large group, or even like your neighborhood where they may be older and would like to meet in person, we have been having community meetings coming out and discussing with, specific groups.
Yes, I believe that we are in the middle of setting something up
Oh,
to at least
perfect. Okay.
have some of the community leaders with Stillbury Acres, but we're in the middle of a mess with the developer that's kind of, we feel, overreached and overstepped their bounds. So we're in the middle of that mess, but at the same time, we absolutely want to have this conversation. So, um, you know, and I will just say that from our point of view, we would like to have some protections, some guidelines built into the plan that protect existing neighborhoods that have been here for a long time from like an overreaching developer and things like that, just
Okay.
from based on our experience.
Okay. And you're in Southwest Middle, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I actually am doing that room next, so you can
Perfect.
stay in here with me, and then we can definitely continue that dialogue.
Terrific. Thank you.
Hello again. Did you have any questions or comments or discussions?
I was just bouncing back for a quick few. I pulled up the plan on my laptop, so I just wanted to bounce back over. I didn't know if you were still discussing anything with anyone.
Yeah, no, not currently there's a discussion, but I'm happy to answer any questions or if you have any comments or suggestions. Like I said, I'm happy to discuss that.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at on at 81 at Clinton and West Boulevard. Um, these So basically, I know that City Council delayed
Hmm.
the vote. So right now, when I was at the meeting, when they said that, it
Hmm.
sounds like the plan is to maybe look at each each area and take feedback from the community and then make a decision afterwards. Do you any idea how that process may work after this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, kind of what that looks like is, so we're getting feedback from this webinar. We're receiving feedback through our office hours, through our website, and so that's going to be continued with that direction from council. And so the plans are still in draft form. So we will continue to receive those comments. We're looking at those. I believe on Monday they're going to provide some responses to the comments that have already been on the plans and such. And so you're able to kind of see that interaction that way. If there are any updates to the plans themselves, that would happen and would then go to council. So whether or not council feels that they're ready to proceed, with adoption, that would be, of course, up to them based on if they see the changes that they're looking for. Does that answer your question?
It does. It does. All
Okay.
right. So, if I have questions like specifically about the bullet points that are in the plan right now, could you
Mhm.
answer those?
I can do my best, and if I can't, I can get your information and put that down so that we can get back to you.
Cool. So I'm looking at 83 Billy Graham and West. And then I'm looking at, so it's a couple things that really stand out to me. Morrisville Drive, bike facility improvements, but it was something else. It was something at the intersection of West Boulevard. Oh, I'm sorry, back at 81, Clinton and West. So my parents live in Barringer Woods, which is like right there.
Okay.
Um, and so there was let's see here. So West Boulevard complete street upgrade. West Boulevard, of course, is a state controlled or state managed street. Um, can you describe? So I've always heard that the goal would be where you would have a bike lane and potentially um, uh, maybe parking spaces to kind of separate or provide a buffer between the sidewalk and the actual cars, the traffic lanes. Is that what this is, or is it just bike crossing, pedestrian stuff, sidewalk kind of stuff,
Sure.
and we can't really put the other stuff there yet?
Do you mind pointing me to what page you're on?
So this is page. I'm looking for the page number, but it says 70 and then it says 81 in the blue circle on the right.
70.
86, 86.
86? Okay, perfect. There's mobility in two sections, so I'll rather than you watch me scroll through all of them, I wanted to make sure I was going to the right one.
Yeah.
Okay, 86. Give me just one moment to join
Take your
you.
time. Hmm.
Okay, yes. Okay. Okay. So this is the
Yeah.
project you're talking about. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I can speak to what we have listed here. What I will say is that these projects are proposed. And so this is done through the strategic investment areas. And so
Hmm.
they're reviewed, and it's not necessarily funded. So I do want to give just that caveat there.
Yes.
Um, so what I'm seeing is that so it says complete streets. So it says in street bike facilities, sidewalks, and pedestrian and or bike crossings, as well as signal upgrades for West Boulevard specifically.
Hmm.
Um, if it also mentions mobility hubs, so those are mobility hubs at its like simplest way is multiple modes of transit. So like bus, train, streetcar, all coming into one spot. So it has the opportunity there for that mobility where they would all be joining at the same spot. But if you have more specific and you want to see more detailed, the strategic investment areas group, which is it right here. So you can use that link, or you can use the QR code there and get a little bit more information about what that plan actually details. If you're looking for very specific, like the street, 8 walks or 8 in or excuse me, 8 feet sidewalks versus bike lanes and such, like that detailed street plan would be through that strategic investment area.
What page is that on?
This is on page 85, the page just above it.
Oh, above it. Okay,
Mhm,
so gotcha. All right. And so going back to
mhm,
86, um, so all of these, so going back to the mobility hub at
mhm,
West and Remount. So Clinton and West Boulevard, Remount and West Boulevard, those
mhm.
are the main intersections on that street or in that corridor. So you're saying the mobility hub would be all of those, but this is proposed as all of the different opportunities for transportation kind of all converging in those main intersections on West
Right. Well,
Boulevard.
so it's not necessarily that all of them are going to be there at the same time. Like I'm not saying that trains, bus, and streetcar are going to be at this, but that is what a
Hmm.
mobility hub offers is multiple types of transit. And so, that's what mobility hub is. So in this case here, like I said, I don't want to tell you incorrect information. So like I said,
Yeah, I'm with you.
but it could be, for instance, bus. And it could be that it's a high capacity or a high transit station, where all of those buses would then converge at those spots. Or, if it was a streetcar and a bus, you see what I'm saying? So that's where it creates those hubs.
So since all of this is proposed, and then I know I can click on this, and it
Mhm,
has, where you can add your comments here.
mhm,
What would you say? Like, what's realistic in? Hey, I like what's here, or this is what needs to be considered here, or this is what I would like to see here. Like, so can you walk me through, hey, that feedback is provided
mhm.
and what the process will be for those comments and feedback to be adopted or within the proposed plan or
Yeah.
adjusting the proposed plan?
Yeah, so as you can see, so I'm just going to click on this comment just for an example. So
Hmm.
you can see here that this is talking about a very specific curb bump out or curb extension. So one of the ways that we would reply to the comment, if the comment was provided via email, for instance, we may respond directly to that person's email. That's just one of the ways that we would specifically reach out and respond to those comments. Um, with that, you do have the option. So, for instance, you were talking about if you had like a suggestion or a concern, you can actually tag that comment type, and you would see those responses. So, I believe that they're currently working on those responses and are looking to have that done next week. So, you'd actually be able to see responses to the comments that we have gotten.
Gotcha. And responses from the planning team is what you're saying.
Correct. Yes, that is
Gotcha.
correct.
All right.
From staff.
And so that plan, those responses, I guess I'm just trying to see how this makes it to the end as it relates
Sure.
to. So those comments, we give the feedback, those
Mhm,
comments have responses from your staff and the
mhm,
planning team. Those things are notated. And then
correct.
when it's time to, so then the next step will be, do we go to adoption? I think that's the next phase, correct?
Sure. Yeah. So basically, what we're going to review all of those comments and, like you said, provide that feedback, but we also have the opportunity to make changes since this is draft form. So if there is a comment, if there is a suggestion, and, staff decides to update that plan, then that updated plan would go to council
Gotcha.
tentatively in June for adoption. But again, council has the opportunity to, continue that conversation, or adopt at that time.
Gotcha. So it would be beneficial if, like, I'm a part of the West Boulevard Neighborhood
Mhm,
Coalition, right? And so if there's things specifically in this
mhm,
section that we want to review or want to make sure is considered in the updated
mhm.
proposed plan, we need to make sure that we make those notes here.
Yeah, yeah. And so you can make the notes here. Also on our website, we have our email. So you
Mhm.
can email in comments. We also have those office hours that I was talking about, and I'm going to share that screen again just so that way you're able to see that. So yeah, so on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have office hours in which you're welcome to come. as an individual, you're coming as representing a group, and actually talk one-on-one with staff. So again, if you do have a very specific thing that you want the opportunity to have that open dialogue about, the office hours do offer that opportunity. If you want that more in-person feedback, they are virtual. But again, it's a little bit more than just commenting on the plan if that's a concern for you.
Gotcha. And my last question is, once we move into adoption, I think I did. Catherine Mahoney may have
Mhm.
touched on this last week. So once we move into adoption, how soon will we'll see like any of this come to life in any of these areas?
Sure. So I think the biggest, or not the biggest, but rather something that you would see, and kind of see that impact would be through the rezoning process. So as part of the community area plans, we're integrating that in, and we're looking to these plans for guidance. So for example, I'm just going to move back in the plans for a moment. When we were talking about, mobility. So if a project is in an area that can't keep up with that infrastructure, we're going to look to this, and we're going to look at that mobility assessment and see if it is going to um, help mitigate that, and look to these small area plans as a way to kind of help city council or any other decision maker, as well as the community, to decide if that's something that they would want to see. So that's one of the ways that you, as an individual, would see these plans kind of come into fruition, is through that rezoning process.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course. We have just 5 minutes left before we switch community areas. Does anybody have anything else to share?
Yes, the concern that I have is back in the keys for the description of the transit locations that you have. You
Mm.
have identified West Tyvola and Freedom Drive as boulevards. And my question is there proposed name changes for these streets? Because they are not boulevards, they are roads.
Uh,
And so I'm confused by the key description
okay.
in the transit area designation.
Okay, absolutely. So, and I just want to make sure that I'm following your comment. Is that in the plans itself, or was that in the
Yes, that's
presentation? Okay, the
within.
plan. Okay, let me
Um,
switch over to that so that I can see exactly what you're talking about, because I want to make sure I capture that accurately for you. Okay. And you said it was in the key. Do you
Map
know what
three,
page? Map
map
3?
three, West Inner Streets map.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Let me navigate to that right now. I apologize for the scrolling.
Oh no, no, you're fine.
Okay, so map 3. Okay. Okay. All right. And so again, to make sure your comment, map 3 is showing
Hmm.
um a west sorry, Freedom Drive, is that what would
Freedom
you
Drive
Freedom Drive?
is
Okay.
designated as a boulevard. If you look at the map key, right?
Hmm. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm looking at the plan here, and I see what you're saying. So it uh, adopted to periodically define small organized streets. So I'm going to make that note for you and get you that clarification if that would be changing to a boulevard, or if that's
Hmm.
just the street designation. And so could I get your contact information so that way I can get you that answer?
I put a question in there, but it's Garrett Combs.
Okay.
I'll put it in chat.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I
But I
appreciate that.
will
Like I
also
said, I want
post
to,
a question.
all right. I just want to make sure that I definitely get you that answer.
And then whenever he was talking about the particular streets
Mhm.
and changing them to bike lanes, how do you anticipate widen the roads? Are you annexing land from homeowners to widen the street so you can make it possible to have bike lanes? Because my concern is Old Steel Creek, which is not wide enough to do anything.
Sure. I'm not speaking on behalf of the mobility partners. So like I said, I can't give you specifics about the strategic investment areas and the like I said, the road maps for those. I would point you to the strategic investment areas website, so you can get more specific information about those.
Okay. And then you said that there was opportunity for us to come in on what days? Mondays and
Oh,
Thursdays?
so that is actually, so we have office hours that you can sign up for on our website. And those are Tuesday and Thursday, and they're
Tues-
virtual.
Tuesday, Thursday virtual meetings that we can request.
Mhm. Yep. So we are already it's just office hours. And I apologize that my screen does not let me see when I am sharing. So if we go to the 2040 plan um, website,
Hmm.
I believe, and we go to community area planning. Um, so we have our plans here. So you can sign up uh, obviously for the emails, but we also have the office hours sign up here at the very bottom of the screen. And so this is continuing. So we are continuing to have them. So they're Tuesdays from 11 to 1, and then Thursdays from 3 to 5. And you can just click on this link here, and it actually takes you to a sign up page where you can sign up for more particular spots. So that way,
Thank you.
you'll get that link as well.
Thank you.
Of course. Hi, Terry. I see your comments here. There are plans.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in, Abby, just to kind of save you some time. I just wanted to put those in to make sure we have a complete project list associated with our SMP page for the area plans. I've also shared my complaints with the small area plans, not aligning language for roadways to major and minor thoroughfares, but calling them boulevards and avenues and things that do not align with NCDOT standards or FHWA standards. We're creating a definition that really is not associated with any other standard. And there was some comment around the bike lanes, but it's my understanding that no bike lane, no sidewalk will be created that is not within an existing roadway right of way. So there's no plans to create a bike lane anywhere that would expand the right of way of the roadway by itself. Not in Mecklenburg County. I don't know of an example in the state that would be the case. The roadway right of way and the project right of way keys there. Mr. Combs, I think, had mentioned something along those lines. And that's something that's an important clarification. But for these small area plans, I think the failing is to not include as many funding this as possible. I want to thank staff for being here. I want to thank everybody for being here and contributing to the process, and excited about moving forward.
All right. Well, it is 6 o'clock. It's after 6, so we are going to be transitioning to our next small area plan. But I want to thank you guys for being here tonight, and I've cataloged those comments. And I believe you are welcome to transition either if you are done for the night or if you'd like to transition to a different breakout room, you can do so as well.
Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.